You've spent years in that salon chair, and somehow you leave feeling older every single time. Imagine finally knowing exactly which hairstyles are stealing years from your face, and which ones are giving them right back. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we're perfecting your hairstyle choices, and by part 3, you'll want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We're covering 5 hair mistakes that most women over 50 are making right now. The blunt cuts, the wrong layers, the color traps, the volume killers, and the one styling habit that's quietly aging your face every morning. And the very first mistake? It's sitting on 9 out of 10 heads I see. Let's go. Part 1, the blunt bob trap. Have you ever walked out of a salon thinking something looked modern, and then caught your reflection 2 weeks later wondering why you look heavier, flatter, and somehow older than before you went in? That is the blunt bob doing exactly what it was never designed to do on a face like yours. Here is what nobody is telling you. A blunt, one-length bob creates a hard horizontal line that cuts directly across the softest part of your face. And after 50, when skin naturally begins to lose volume along the jaw, that line does not frame you. It underlines exactly what gravity has done. That is the real reason it feels off, and it is not your fault for not knowing. This is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation and ask me what had changed, because the moment she let go of her blunt bob, she looked like herself again. The fix is not about cutting your hair shorter or growing it longer. It is about texture. Soft, face-framing layers that begin just below the cheekbone create movement where movement matters most. Around the jaw, around the chin, right where your beautiful bone structure needs light to land, not a hard line to draw attention away from it. If you are still wearing a one-length blunt bob, swap it for a textured layered cut. The difference shows up immediately, even before you leave the salon. Ask your stylist specifically for soft disconnected layers, not chunky graduation. Those are 2 very different things, and one of them is aging you right now. Maintain this cut with a light trim every 8 weeks. Layers that grow past their shape collapse, and a collapsed layer is just a blunt bob in disguise. The difference this one swap makes to your jawline? Honestly, it will surprise you. Stop. Just sit with that for a second, because part 2 is where things get even more personal. And it involves a cut most women think is safe, but is quietly working against every feature they love most. Part 2, the mushroom cut mistake. Let's be completely honest with each other for a moment. The short rounded cut, the one that puffs out at the sides and sits flat on top, the one some stylists still call a classic, it is not doing you any favors. And if you have been wearing some version of it for years, you are not alone. Most women fall into this shape because it feels tidy and low maintenance. But tidy is not the same as timeless. Here is the surprising truth. The mushroom shape does something mathematically unkind to the mature face. It widens the midsection of the head, the area right around the ears, which visually drags the eye downward instead of upward. And because it removes all height from the crown, it shortens the appearance of the entire face. Your features end up looking compressed, smaller, heavier, none of which reflects who you actually are. This is everything. Your face deserves height, not width. What your face is asking for instead is vertical lift. Crown volume, real, intentional height at the top of the head, lengthens the face, lifts the eye, and immediately creates the illusion of higher cheekbones. There is one technique that changes how your entire face reads the moment you step into a room. And it takes your stylist approximately 4 minutes to build into your cut, using internal layering at the crown. If you are still wearing a rounded shape that sits wide at the ears, swap it for a cut with crown elevation and tapered sides. The visual effect on your bone structure is immediate and dramatic. Ask for graduation at the nape, not bulk at the sides. That single direction changes everything your mirror shows you. Between appointments, a volumizing root spray applied at the crown before blow drying will hold that lift through the day. Use it on dry or slightly damp roots. That is where it grips best. This is the one change I wish someone had whispered to me years ago, because it costs nothing extra and gives back so much. And part 3? That is where we talk about the one hair color decision most women think is helping, but is actually the reason the mirror feels unkind lately. Part 3. The color that kills your glow. You thought going darker would make you look younger. It feels logical, richer color, more depth, more vibrancy. But if the color you chose is pulling even slightly warm brown, cool black, or heavily pigmented, something else is happening to your face at the same time. And it is not what you hoped for. Here is what the color is actually doing. After 50, the skin's undertone shifts. It becomes more sallow, more ashy, more neutral. When you place a heavy, deeply pigmented, one-dimensional color directly against that changed skin tone, the color wins, and your face disappears. The contrast is too sharp. It does not frame your features. It overshadows them. That is why you can spend an hour on your makeup and still feel like something is off. The color is the thing that is off. Honestly, this is the mistake I see the most, and the one that is easiest to fix once you understand why it is happening. The answer is not to go lighter in an extreme way. It is to go multidimensional. Soft face framing highlights, just 2 or 3 shades lighter than your base, placed around the hairline and temples, do something extraordinary. They lift light back toward your face. They warm your skin. They make your eyes brighter without you changing a single thing about your makeup. If you are still using a flat, single-process color with no dimension, swap it for a color service that includes soft baby lights or face framing pieces. The lift it creates around those beautiful eyes of yours is something no filter can replicate. Maintain this with a weekly toning gloss at home to keep the highlights from going brassy. Brassy highlights are the one thing that reverses this effect entirely, so a toning wash every 7 days keeps the color working in your favor. This tip alone has made women tell me they stopped avoiding cameras. In part 4, we are going straight to the one styling habit that is quietly collapsing your volume every single morning. And you are probably doing it before you even realize it. Part 4. The volume-killing styling habit. Every morning, same routine. And yet somehow by midday the hair looks flat, lifeless, and twice your age. If that sounds familiar, you are not imagining it, and your hair is not the problem. Here is the key insight. The most common volume-destroying habit for women over 50 is drying the hair in the direction it naturally falls, downward. It feels right. It feels smooth and controlled, but it is actually training every strand to lie flat against the scalp and stay there. After 50, when the hair shaft itself has become finer and more porous, this habit becomes devastating to volume. You are essentially ironing out the only lift your hair has left. This one piece of information changed everything for a woman I know, and she has not had a flat hair day since. The fix is directional drying. Flip the hair forward, away from the scalp, while the root is still damp. Use a round brush to direct airflow upward, against the natural fall of the hair, starting at the root. This sets volume into the base of the strand where it counts, and that volume holds, even without product, even in humidity. If you are still drying straight down and wondering why the volume never stays, swap that motion for upward root lifting. The difference is visible before you even reach for a hairspray. Lock in the lift at the end with a light hold flexible spray at the roots only, never mid-length, never ends. Product at the ends weighs the style down and undoes every second of work you just did. Yes, that's simple. There is one more styling mistake that women over 50 make, and it lives in the one place most people never think to look. Part 5 is the one that ties every other mistake together. And once you hear it, you will not be able to unsee it. Part 5. The parting that parts you from your youth. It is the smallest thing on your head, and it is doing the most damage. Your part. Specifically, a center part that is too perfectly straight, too mathematically precise, and has been sitting in exactly the same spot for years. Here is what it is actually doing to your face. A rigid center part bisects your face with a vertical line that draws the eye straight down. It also flattens the crown completely, because all the hair is pulled away from the top in 2 equal directions, leaving 0 volume at the apex of your head. Over time, a fixed parting also thins the hair along that line, because the same scalp is exposed to the same stress in the same place, day after day, year after year. The line gets wider, the hair on either side gets finer, and the whole effect reads as age, even when everything else is right. This is the one that nobody talks about. And it is the one I wish every woman knew before it became visible. The shift to a soft off-center side part, placed slightly above the arch of one brow, Not a hard side part but a gentle asymmetrical one, is the single fastest face framing change you can make without touching scissors or color. It creates immediate crown volume. It adds diagonal movement that draws the eye upward and outward. And it gives your natural elegance a framework to be seen in, rather than a flat line to disappear behind. If you are still using a rigid center part out of habit, swap it for a soft diagonal side part, and change its position by ½ inch every few weeks to protect your scalp from thinning along a fixed line. Use a fine-tooth tail comb to set the part gently while the hair is slightly damp from styling. That is when it holds its placement best and causes the least breakage. This is the one that made a room stop and turn. You have just learned something most women spend years and hundreds of salon visits trying to figure out on their own. In the next video, it is about the one clothing mistake that cancels out every single hair and makeup upgrade you just made. You just learned 5 specific hairstyle mistakes that most women spend years making without ever knowing why. And now you have the exact fixes that work. You didn't just watch a video. You changed how you'll look tomorrow. Your bone structure, your natural elegance, those beautiful eyes, they were never the problem. The shape surrounding them was. And now that changes. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 mistakes were you making without realizing it? I read every single one, and I want to know which part hit home. Next time, we are uncovering the one clothing mistake that silently undoes every hair and makeup upgrade you have ever made. And it is hiding in plain sight in most wardrobes. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.